All right. Hey, everyone. Well, welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Vays. And the moment I start, I'm getting a call. Sure. Hold on. Yeah, it was all my friends. Just told my dude, I just had to pause my live stream to let you know I have to call you back. All right. So this is going to be a very brief one because I got into a bunch of Twitter arguments last night. I mean, I'm the idiot that I said something to Alex Gladstein, and that started a whole new can of worms. You can check out like the whole Twitter threads. Now I'm arguing with Bitfury George, one of the co-founders of Bitfury. Anyway, about the whole Ukraine situation, of course. Anyway, let's go to the charts. Oh shit. Okay. Once again, I can't do application, so that means I can't dox anything. Give me a minute. Okay, that won't get doxed. That probably will. Let me close that. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, good. Now I can do a screen share. Okay. Now let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin. The monthly triangle looks really, really good. And hopefully we can get to the top of the triangle, get back to 60,000, probably pull back to the $50,000 area one more time, and then eventually break out sometime this year. Weekly chart has broken the intermediate moving average. We got a green star candle. The green star candle on a weekly chart began once last week's price started to break the high of the prior week. We're now above this moving average. Now we're waiting for the moving averages to cross. The main area of resistance, or the main, it's not even resistance. The main breakout line for me is around 52,000. Above 52,000, and we could be off to the races straight towards 100K. The MRI is very bullish. The Lucid SARs are bullish. We are above all the moving averages, two of which are rising, one is falling, and they have not yet crossed over. It's not a 100% bullish situation, but now the weekly chart has become pretty bullish. I did not do any videos this weekend. I just, somewhat enjoy my time here in Panama and hanging out with great people. Went to visit some remote areas, checking out some islands. I am looking into like complete off-grid living, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, as long as it has, good accommodation, a nice modern lifestyle on some island, and with internet, and because the world's going completely insane. And probably gonna have a new YouTube channel dedicated to that. In April, I'm gonna after the conference in Miami, which I don't know, I don't know if I really want to be at a place with 30,000 people, but I'll be there. I'll be down in Miami. I have plans for Miami, but after that, I'm gonna reevaluate my like everything I do with my channel and my businesses. Anyway, we were in 100% bullish, 100% cash position, waiting for the crossover. Now on a daily chart, I'm gonna go to the daily chart first. Okay, I expected a little bit of a pullback off the moving average before the big breakout. The pullback didn't come. Everyone is everyone is referencing the Luna scam, buying up a bunch of Bitcoin to create a stable coin. I don't know how true that is. It probably is a factor. I haven't looked into that at all. I just look at the TA chart. And the TA chart, once this candle on Saturday started breaking above prior candle's high, once the candle of the 27th started going above the high of the 26th, that tells you that the pullback is not likely to happen anymore. And we're just going to go straight up. Now, at this point, where is the next resistance line? Well, the next resistance line happens to be very, very soon at the 200-day moving average. Remember what I told you guys back in the past, when we were rising here into this death cross, that this would be a very strong resistance area. But once these moving averages separate from each other, each one individually is not as strong as them combined. Kind of like if a military splits in half, fighting half a military and half a military is not as difficult as fighting them together. Okay, so it's kind of like the same thing with moving averages. The combination of them in a depth cross is very challenging. When they're broken apart, each one individually becomes less challenging. So now the next level of resistance is coming up. And if we do pull back from this level of resistance, and the MRI top is coming in about 3 days. So we got about 3 more days. So I'm going to adjust this, to 3 days away from now. Now the area of the support is back at the prior swing high. That's a very strong support because it has hit it 3 times. So I'm now looking at that. Now, here is the challenge, right? Because I didn't do a video the last 2 weekends, you guys understand the whole Consensio concept. And I just waited for this candle to kind of run its course in order to see where we are. Well, now look at the Consensio model. We have the short-term moving average above both of them. We have 2 of them rising. We have the price above all 3 of them now. There's literally only 2 parts left to Consensio. One is the crossover between the intermediate moving average and the long-term moving average. And in 2 days, that is going to happen. If the price is exactly where it is now, they're pretty much at cross. They're pretty much touching each other, or like too close of a margin of error. And then the only thing that's left is to have the long-term moving average be rising. Now, I am expecting a pullback to the bottom. And I know I didn't do a video for the last 2 days, and this is going to be a little bit hindsight, but I was very, very close to adding a position last candle. So there has to be a position in this candle, because look at the beginning of this candle. At the beginning of this candle, it meets the majority of the criteria in the Consensio model. So just based on Consensio model alone, even if you use the lowest possible view on Consensio, it's still going to be a 40% bullish allocation here. That's at that's even if you're going by the lowest view. Bullish allocation. Okay, that's like the most conservative position here, because look at all your elements, right? You're above all 3 moving averages. 2 of them are rising. The short is above the intermediate, and very likely to cross over, though very likely isn't really a scientific term. And that's where we are with 40. And at the end of this candle, once the next candle begins, we can jump straight to 60. In fact, you could have even gone higher here, but I'm just taking the most conservative position here. Okay, there's going to be another position, and we're rising right now very, very, very nicely. We should have did this video a little bit earlier when I first woke up. But like I said, I've been in these Twitter debates, and I had to go in like 5 minutes. So we were doing meetups. We're doing meetups at a Motion Dinner Theater. Did one last Saturday, Bitcoin meetup. I'm trying to convince them to just do one once a month here in Panama City. The place is awesome. Definitely want to come and check it out. We may or may not do one this Saturday. We're gonna decide today, but I'll probably be back and be spending more time in Panama. Short-term chart, we already discussed it. That's the daily chart. Sorry, it's not the short-term chart. The 4-hour chart hit an MRI top just a few hours ago. Well, 4 hours ago to be specific. And we're now higher. If next candle is above current candle, then this did not lead to any pullback. I do think we're a bit overextended. Obviously, I expected us to pull back from the last MRI top. I am expecting a pullback from this MRI top. I was expecting a pullback. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but the situation is pretty damn bullish. I don't know if the 1-hour chart is even useful when we're flying up so high so fast. It's also not updating my chart, so I'm just going to move on. Oh man, this chart didn't update. I don't know where GBTC is. I got like 5 minutes before I get a pickup, and I'm not even fully finished packing yet. So that's kind of bad. All right. Yes, I'm about to get oil prices going down. I'm very curious where the ruble is. Gold, you guys know my views. They haven't changed. I'm bullish on the price of oil, regardless of the political conflict. I am, GBC is at 33. Okay, cool. Let me see. Oh, that's nice. What a premium. Sorry, next video I'll have it. I'm gonna change Wi-Fi's. I'm switching. I'm going to a different part of Panama City today. Oh, the stock market is at an MRI top. I'm also expecting a pullback in the stock market. Look at the weekly MRI, like basically rallied us all the way up. On a daily scale, I'm expecting a pullback. I'm not expecting a bear market in the stock market. As you guys know, I've been bullish the stock market in forever. I'm still bullish the stock market. Probably a 1 to 4 candle pullback that should pull back Bitcoin a little bit, and then I still expect it to go higher, way high. The Russian ruble. This is very bullish for the Russian ruble. As you can see, we almost broke and closed below this line. We still have the rest of the day to go. This is appreciation of the ruble. The ruble has appreciated. This was March 7th. This is when the conflict began, right there. I have to sneeze real quick. So I believe Russian troops entered Ukraine on the 24th. That's when the currency started to devalue. And how much did the currency devalue from that day? So from that day, all right, what's going on? It's not drawing on my chart. I'm just having all kinds of trading view issues. I don't know why it's not drawing anything. Like, what is this? It just shows this up. Apply default drawing tools. Yeah, I'm trying. Like, it doesn't want to draw. I don't know. Anyway, went from 81 to 150. So it devalued 50%. And now it went from 150 to 94. So it 33%. So it appreciated 33%. So right now from 80, let's say 100, let's round 80 to 100. So right now that's 25%. So the Russian ruble has devalued 25%. But if the Russian ruble comes back to 80, that is basically a big middle finger to America, saying that, our currency has strengthened. And what that means is that the world has a confidence in the Russian ruble more than the US dollar. And that is as big of a blow to the United States global control of finance and economy is as it gets. Well, like I don't know if there could be a more embarrassing situation to the U.S. control over global finance and money than the Russian ruble appreciating during this conflict. Use the shift key. No, it's nothing to do with that. No, it's not. It's not that. It's I don't know. So something's messed up on my trading. Well, let's see what happens. I was saying, if you control the price, yeah, I know it's not really a free-flowing currency at the moment, but eventually it will be. Eventually it will be. I don't consider Putin a communist. I don't. I know he grew up in communism, but I don't consider Putin a communist. I don't. You can disagree with me. I don't consider him a communist. Joe Biden's a communist. The Clintons are communists. The Obamas are communists. I don't consider Putin a communist. No. I'm not clicking moving average, guys. Like I'm clicking like in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't matter. Like it's just not working. Come on. I know how to use trading. It's just not working. People are confusing, and this is the thing, right? People are confusing a political model, right? People are confusing the democratically elected American presidents with the, I mean, it's hard to explain the Russian and the Chinese political model. China is a little more communist than Russia is, but Russia has a different political model. But people confuse a dictatorship with communism, and that's not accurate. Communism is an economic structure. It's not a political structure. Communism is an economic structure. You can have a communist state with democratic elections. Like these are two different you're confusing an economic model with a political model. Now there is some correlation. Dictatorships tend to be more authoritarian, usually, not always, but dictatorships are usually more authoritarian than democracies. But it doesn't mean a democracy doesn't have, Marxist communist tendencies. Europe is trending in a very bad direction. And Russia has been trending in a very good direction until this recent conflict. Big A, everything I don't like is Hitler. That's what the leftists say. Everything I don't like is communism, is what the right wingers say. Again, you are confusing a person with an economic model. That is a very bad analogy. Oh yeah, Justin Trudeau, complete communist. Democratically elected 3 times, complete communist. Well, that's Ixion. That's because you have not paid attention to the trend over the last 20, 30 years. Since communism fell in Russia, all you're hearing is that Russia hasn't changed from the 1980s, and that's all you hear from US media and most of the global Western media. That's because you're refusing to believe that Russia is a capitalist country. Capitalist economy, I should say. Right, Russia is demanding rubles for its oil, correct. That's going to strengthen the ruble. Remember, the fact that you're paying in rubles is not what's going to strengthen the ruble. It's the fact that countries are going to be holding rubles. That's what's going to strengthen the ruble. It's the transactional currency versus the hodling currency. Like the fact that people use dollars for oil trade is not what makes the dollar strong. The fact that people hold dollars is what makes the dollar strong. And this goes back to my debate on Twitter with both Alex Gladstein and Bitfury George. I mean, these were basically the debates. Guys, I understand. I know what's happening in Ukraine. Okay, you don't need to show me pictures of war destructions. I will just Google and send you pictures of other war destructions, right? Here is what America did to Iraq. Here is what NATO and America did to Libya. Here is what, again, NATO and the US. This was Syria. And here is, if you want to go backwards in time, here is Yugoslavia. Okay, so like, I'm not in denial that people are getting killed in Ukraine. Like, I don't understand why people think that I'm in denial that this is what's happening in Mariupol. I'm not in denial of that, right? Well, like it's the same thing with the COVID, right? Tone's in denial that COVID exists. No. I'm not in denial that COVID exists. I had COVID twice. I just think that the solutions to the problem are insane with COVID. Same thing with Ukraine. Like, I'm not denying what's happening there. It's just that I disagree with the solution. The solution is send Ukraine more guns. That's the general solution, right? Just urge Yanks to send Ukrainians more weapons. More weapons. Let's kill more Ukraine. Let's get more Ukrainians killed. Let's send them more weapons. Let's get them. Let's get all of them killed for us. Let's get them all killed. Let's get them to keep fighting the Russians, right? And like, no. To save Ukrainians, they gotta make a peace deal with Russia. And it's the peace deal is on the table. Ukraine doesn't want to take it. It's on the table, right? Sending more guns to Ukrainians will kill more Ukrainians, and that's what I'm against. And I seem to be evil for wanting to save the lives of Ukrainians. I'm the evil one. I'm evil because I want to save the lives of Ukrainians. I didn't live there. I've been there many times. I was going to live there. I was going to live there in the summer of 2020, but then COVID prevented that. That was my plan. Yeah, and this whole thing started because of this. Just so you guys know. Look, I'm not against. I'm not against. I am against. I'm confiscating people's private property for political reasons. Let me make that clear, for political reasons, right? Though, in general, I'm against confiscating private property, especially for political reasons. I don't really have a big problem with eminent domain, and we can talk about eminent, but I have a problem when eminent domain is used for political reasons. I don't have a problem with the concept of eminent domain. If you don't know what eminent domain is, please look that up. I don't have a problem with eminent domain. I have a problem when it's abused for political or personal gain. So that's but I was against this confiscation of Russian people's assets around the world. I'm against that, and I was against kicking Russia out of SWIFT because that's only going to destroy the United States. Well, it's not a bad thing, actually. Like, as a Bitcoiner, I think it's kind of good that Russia got kicked out of SWIFT because it will destroy Americans' control over global finances. It will help destroy the dollar. So kicking Russia out of SWIFT will speed up the destruction of the dollar as the world reserve currency, and it's going to make Bitcoin rise in price. That's great, but it's bad for humans. Okay, what's good for humans isn't necessarily what's good for the price rise of Bitcoin. See, I'm putting humanity above my personal desire for returns. I'm putting, saving lives and making life on this planet better with proper policy over personal gains of the rise in Bitcoin price. I'd rather be broke and live in a good, peaceful world than be rich in a horrible world. Okay. And my view on it is that anyone in favor of like blatant political confiscation of people's assets for political reasons it goes against what, you know, the essence of Bitcoin, which is private property and unconfiscatable assets. And there was an article. I mean, Putin has publicly stated he's not confiscating any private property. So the empty McDonald's and other assets of the West that, you know, are boycotting Russia and left those buildings open, he's saying he's not confiscating them, which is strange because he can confiscate them and eventually should confiscate them based on eminent domain. Because if someone leaves an empty building in your city, in your country, that building will become a hazard, right? It's an empty building. No one is managing that building, right? So eventually you need to take that building because otherwise, you know, the building at the very least, or eventually that building could collapse because no one is managing that building. If the Russian government now has to spend financial resources maintaining that building becomes theirs. That's like, it's like is it homesteading or whatever it is, right? So they, Russia, like once McDonald's said, we're going to leave and we're leaving these buildings open in the middle of your, you know, street, like in the middle of a restaurant street, someone else should get a chance to put a restaurant in that building. And I mean, again, Putin can be a liar. Okay. A lot of people think Putin is a liar. Okay. But this is literally quote, right? This is a quote. Unlike Western countries, we will respect property rights. So I called Alex out on it. Like you're a war criminal that like you want to confiscate everything from is on record saying, unlike you Westerners that are confiscating private property, we're not going to. And again, sending me pictures of atrocities will only get a reply of me sending you pictures of other atrocities. I don't understand. I'm not in denial of what's going on there. Russia is taking all the planes the West is leaving there. Well, the West is leaving there, right? He's not preventing them from, you know, taking the planes, right? Like, I mean, you can't take your McDonald's building out of Russia back to the West, right? Look, if you leave something in my house and you're not planning to come back for it because you hate me, what do you want me to do? Leave it in the middle of my living room the rest of my life? I'm going to take it and get rid of it and sell it. Russia doesn't confiscate property. Russia confiscates territory of another country. We can discuss that. But your statement needs facts and evidence behind it. And you're going to have you know, a hard time finding it. We can talk about Crimea as well. Do you think once Russia is done with Ukraine, is he heading to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania next? Probably not. And I'm using the term probably here. Probably not. Okay. For several reasons, this is a very long conversation. I don't have time for it. But I would love to discuss that more. It's a chicken and egg thing. I think if those countries agree to pull out of NATO, it becomes less likely for him to go in there. Less likely. Because you know what? I don't think Russia's scared of NATO. I don't think they are. I know NATO wants Russia to do anything possible to go in and start a war, but I don't think that's a good thing. All right, no, guys, I gotta go. I gotta run. I'm happy to debate Alex Glastein on this. I'm not like angry about the situation. I'm just pointing out that it's a very hypocritical position. And my main problem with the hypocrisy is damn, he's tweeting a lot. Is this right? So I replied to it. Your view on this matter is statist and hypocritical. Like the USA has invaded over a dozen countries in the last 20 years, pretty much. They've killed millions of people, and no one ever, called American presidents war criminals. I mean, some people have, but not these people, right? Like the biggest, the people that are, like the biggest people that are calling Putin a war criminal never called a single American president a war criminal, never advocated for Americans to lose property abroad, never advocated for Americans to lose private property because they're Americans and their tax money is funding these invasions and the killing of civilians. So to me, it's just a hypocritical position. It's just a hypocritical position. I try to be as consistent and unhypocritical as possible. Okay. All right. On that note, I gotta go. Feel free to weigh in on the discussion. I don't know if I'll reply to it anymore. My mistake for pointing out the hypocrisy of the state. I apologize. All right. Bye, guys.